group overseeing former Yugoslavia are trying to figure out in Rome today. They want Belgrade and ethnic Albanians to get down to serious negotiations. The Americans in particular want to take a much tougher approach against Slobodan Milosevic if he does not cooperate, but the French and Russians want to take a softer line. Outside the conference center, hundreds of ethnic Albanians held a demonstration. They chanted freedom for Kosovo and appealed for international help. They say the West has to get tough with Belgrade. Skirmishes in Kosovo now occur on virtually a daily basis. The Yugoslav army has now begun deploying troops in the region, raising fears in Western capitals that a full-scale crackdown against the predominantly ethnic Albanian population is imminent.
Kosovo is ready for war. These are the ethnic Albanians for whom the Kalashnikov is mightier than international trade sanctions. They say the situation in the province is more and more a military one, and they must therefore prepare to fight fire with fire. According to Serbian intelligence, the Kosovo Liberation Army already has an impressive arsenal. At least that's how Belgrade justifies increasing military operations in the region. Some 40 kilometers west of the provincial capital is the Dranica Triangle, a hotbed of anti-government sentiment. Serb police have held the area under siege for 2 months now. Locals aren't expecting an international cavalry to come charging to the rescue. The villages are ghost towns, boarded up and empty. The women and children, apart from those killed in Serb raids, have left. The men are patrolling the trenches, ready for the next attack.
Mourners at the ceremony in Prilep in the southwest. It was the police who shot at the men, shouted this bystander. It's unclear what sparked the incident. Reporters at the scene said they saw both Serb police and masked gunmen thought to be militant Kosovo separatists. The mourners were attending a funeral of 3 men killed by the Yugoslav army while trying to cross into Albania. According to Serbian sources, these men were members of the Kosovo Liberation Army. Dozens gathered to listen to Kosovo Albanian leaders urging them to resist oppression.
Following the peace deal reached earlier this month, the paramilitary group, which called a ceasefire last July, has said it remains committed to the search for justice and peace. Clamped down on Belgrade. The Six-Nation Contacts group has agreed on imposing fresh sanctions on Yugoslavia for failing to begin talks with ethnic Albanian leaders from Kosovo. The group, which is made up of the United States, Russia, Britain, France, Germany and Italy, said sanctions would include the immediate freezing of Yugoslavia's assets abroad, followed by further measures concerning investments. Russia, a traditional ally of Serbia, has expressed reservations about the measures but has given its backing. Outside the meeting in Rome, ethnic Albanians held a demonstration to call for international intervention in the crisis. Albanians, who make up 90% of Kosovo's population, want independence for the region. But the international community is divided over the idea of an autonomous Kosovo. It fears the crisis could escalate into another war in the Balkans.
Tensions have been further heightened in Kosovo after 1 man was shot dead by Serbian police at a funeral on Wednesday. 3 people were wounded in the shooting, which caused panic amongst mourners at the ceremony in Prilep in the southwest. It was the police who shot at the men, shouted this bystander. It's unclear what sparked the incident. Reporters at the scene said they saw both Serb police and masked gunmen thought to be militant Kosovo separatists.
And that more sanctions won't matter. Serbia's Minister for Information there says freezing his country's assets abroad and threatening to block investment is against international law and will only promote Albanian terrorism. On the border with Albania, where Belgrade says it's already fighting terrorists smuggling in arms, tensions are escalating. The Albanian army has begun deploying troops and it's urged people to stay away from the area. There are real fears the conflict will spill over this border.
Albanians scattered as shots rang out. 1 ethnic Albanian was reported killed as he returned to a nearby village. The Contact Group sees autonomy as the solution for Kosovo, but this may be too little for some elements in the ethnic Albanian leadership. They want nothing less than full independence. But all 6 powers in the Contact Group have ruled that out.
Albanians, who make up 90% of the population, said the measures should have been stronger. Serbs living in Kosovo were defiant. They say they've survived economic hardship for years and that more sanctions won't matter.
Tensions between Serbs and ethnic Albanians in the Serb province of Kosovo are running as high as ever. More than 2,000 ethnic Albanian students gathered in front of the provincial capital, Pristina's university, to try to get into their faculties. Access was blocked by Serb policemen. Then the peaceful standoff grew nastier as Serbs drove past, taunting the students who've been trying to get back into their faculty since being ejected in 1991 for refusing to follow Serb syllabuses. Serb students on nearby roofs added to the explosive situation by throwing stones. Elsewhere in Pristina, around 10,000 Serbs protested against the killing of a Serb policeman and the Albanian calls for an independent Kosovo. The Serb policeman was killed on Wednesday evening as he carried out a patrol in the troubled region. The latest unrest comes just one day after the Contact Group imposed sanctions against Yugoslavia in a bid to force negotiations between Belgrade and Pristina. Though the trouble looms, Albania has urged the Contact Group to deploy NATO troops in its country for fear that the conflict in neighbouring Serbia spill over.